Hi, I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Lacey.
And this is Women in the Trailer Industry. Today we have a special show of sorts, podcast of sorts. And that is to say that Lacey is the new VP of Sales and Revenue at the Trailer Parts Outlet. Yay! So, Lacey, with this being a new accomplishment and new improvement, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling excited. I'm super stoked. I feel like I've worked so hard for this and prepared and planned, and it's actually here. And I mean, we're just ready to get the ball rolling and move these cells, move
sure.
the tick. the tick
tick.
mark.
The needle.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
We're moving the tick over here, guys. That's going to be
Don't
the
worry,
new phrase.
It's a thing.
You had a pretty, I'm going to call it, grueling interview process with the CEO, Tyler. How was that whole experience? You came in like a wrecking ball. You had all the research you've done and everything. I mean, you really... in the interview, expanded our minds, and I would say blew my mind, because Tyler is out of the box, and it was the out of the box thinking that he wanted. So how did you feel during that whole interview experience? I
feel like it helped a little bit because I've already interviewed with him before, back whenever I got the job for director of e-commerce. Mm-hmm. So I kind of already knew all the questions, not what questions he was going to throw at me, but knew that he was a question asker. So he wasn't just going to sit there and listen. He wanted to know like the nitty gritties of whatever, especially in a C-level position, right? He wanted to make sure that I was right for the job, which I was ready for, because I just have so many ideas. And so I was kind of nervous, but at the same time, it does help when you are inside of a company and move versus coming into a new company, not knowing anybody, not knowing your job or your bosses or anything like that. So it does help to transition within the company. But yeah, I was just excited that I got the opportunity. I mean, he flew down from California, so it was just nice to not have to do it on Zoom too, because that's just the world we live in now, right? Yep. That a lot of stuff is on Zoom.
We've been living these
days, So it was just nice to have him here and to be able to interview with you guys in person.
Absolutely, and I think you've been here about 4.5 years now, almost 5.
Yeah.
In your tenure here, I'm not going to say you've been the underdog, but you have been in a position where it wasn't necessarily a direct report to Tyler, so he hasn't been able to see all the things that you've been able to do and provide and the value you've provided. How would you suggest someone combat that to get to that C-level or manager position that they want to get to? What obstacles have you overcome, and what advice would you give someone else to overcome those obstacles?
Yeah, I think that was something that I struggled with a lot at first. I'll just be honest. And if you work on the e-com side or anything that is behind the scenes technical kind of stuff, not that your job is undervalued or misvalued, but it's not a job that's in everybody's faces. Right. So that's blatantly, I'll say blatantly, because your job is in everybody's face if you're e-commerce, because the website, everything that people look at online, that's you, right? That's your team. But you're not on the phone with those people. You're not taking the customer service calls. You're not doing all those things that have a physical presence. Mm-hmm. So you don't get overlooked, but it's just that I would just say, make sure you're doing your good job. If number one, in e-commerce, for sure, and that's what I would speak on because that's what my experience is with. If you're not doing your job, and if everything is not set out right on those platforms for people to see, for your sales reps to look at and be able to reference, then that's going to show. So the fact that you're not being talked about a lot is probably a good thing, because that means that your stuff is right. It looks right. It's laid out right.
Absolutely.
You know? So if you're being told a lot and your name's being brought up a lot, it's because you need to fix some crap. Mm-hmm. So I just think that don't get all up in your feelings about not being recognized. Make sure that you're doing your job good, and know that most of the time, if you're not being talked about, it's because you are doing your job, and you're keeping your head down, and you're putting those things out that are good for your online presence to see and convert, but also for you to lay out those references and things for your company and your sales reps to be able to sell, because that's what they reference. They're referencing the work that you're putting out there for those customers. So that's the most important, so that we can turn these sales.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, and, it is VP of sales and revenue, and, e-commerce is sales, but managing a sales team will be a different direction and angle than what you're used to.
Yeah.
How do you prepare to tackle that?
It is going to be a learning curve, but I'm super excited. I think that I have prepared a lot as far as doing my research, observing, seeing how they're doing stuff right now, what needs to change, what needs to be better, and how do we implement those new things. And it doesn't have to be new things. It can be back to basics, and that's kind of what I pitched in my interview, was going back to basics. So sometimes you lose sight of the basic processes that convert and turn sales that you aren't realizing is the thing that turns sales. So instead of swinging for the fences, if you consistently walk through your process, ask the questions, get to know your audience, get the best thing for them in a timely manner, follow through, make sure that stuff is taken care of, then that stuff adds up. And it's the consistency that rings true, not your swinging for the fences. So that one good sell or that two good sell, awesome, right? We love those things. But is that realistically going to happen all the time? No. You have to focus on your consistency and how do you turn everything into a sell and build on that. And so I'm pretty excited to tie e-commerce and the sales team together to lay a groundwork. I think the thing I'm most excited about is to just lay a groundwork and a foundation for having managerial positions open for the sales team, and to have people that we can, run the team, look to those people, catch us up on what's happening, go through the processes, and then us all look at the numbers and see where we're at. What do we need to do to get better?
Yep. And it's very exciting too, because it's kind of just like a gateway into what's next, Yeah. Right now it's just laying the framework for the next sales manager, but then it's going into, are we going to be opening new branches and new branch managers and all of these things. So exciting things to come there.
And I think it also speaks to like growth of the company. So I'm so blessed to have this opportunity, but also the company just to be able to grow, to have these type positions be filled and mean something, so that you can grow your base and grow where you are. Just like you said, maybe new branches or whatever, we're Axle Manufacturing. There's so many new things that we have rolling out that's so excited for this company. So it's just like, it's truly a blessing.
Yep, absolutely. And, within the next couple of months, we're adding several new team members. So that's exciting. And getting more people to help the cause and under the belt and help more customers. What's your best advice for someone who, as we kind of said before, wasn't a direct report? How can you show the most value in doing your job well? Like, how can you say, hey, I'm providing the value, and get to the point where it's recognized? How what's your advice to that?
I think if you are specifically in e-commerce, number one, showing physical things that you've put together, new initiatives, new marketplaces. What is the new stuff that you're bringing to add revenue to the company? That's most important, right? Because that's what keeps the lights on. And also your numbers. So e-commerce is sales. And you directly report those numbers too. And that's all about how good your listings are, how they convert, how good your layout is. Does it attract? Is it good SEO? Is it all the things? And of course, there's other things that play into that, like marketing, that everybody has to do and pay for. But, if you're paying a lot of marketing money towards people looking at your stuff, but your stuff isn't good and they just immediately jump off, then what did you do? You wasted your money. And so that's so important. If you're not in e-commerce, I think that if you are trying to move up, work hard, and you don't have to be loud about it. So if you are doing your job, you're working hard, and you're trying new things within your capacity, thinking outside the box. You're trying new ways to implement new things that are going to be better efficiencies, better communication, whatever your role is right now. There's always things that you can do that are better and that are new that could help. And if you just continuously look for those things, and keep your head down and if you're coming in every day and you're doing your job to the best of your ability, that will be noticed.
Right.
It will be noticed. There's
Absolutely.
no doubt that it won't. And if you are seeking upper management, then while you're doing your good job, if upper management job comes available, or even if it's not, talk to your bosses, be open about it. So ask questions. Is there availabilities for other positions or upper management positions? It doesn't hurt to ask, is there something going to come available? I'm really interested in this, because sometimes your bosses may not know that. They may think, dude, she's a really hard worker and she gets her job done, but they may not know that you're looking for something more, so
Right.
you have to be in communication about that. So that's what I would say.
In my opinion as well, is that, business very results driven, a lot of ideas are thrown all the time. But a big question, okay, what's the implementation of that? Okay,
Yes.
have you finished it? What was the result of it? Unfortunately, in a perfect world, we could just have an idea and everything be hunky-dory. But, at the end of the day, a CEO or whoever has to look at data to be able to feed the family. I know there was an Instagram comment last night, it's someone talking about our prices. And, this is a rabbit hole, but, we have to go up in prices sometimes just to feed the family.
Yeah.
So anyways, idea from start to finish, I would say from idea to results.
Right.
Make sure that you complete the circle because that's what people are going to notice. The ideas are great. And we love the ideas. We love the outside, but then who's going to implement it? How's it going to be implemented? When is it going to be done? What did it produce?
How many people is it going to take to get that done?
Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, but that is also what is noticed there. So
also, if you take the time and you are going through the process of trying to implement, that's mostly when you find what the hiccups are going to be.
Yes.
Is this actually going to work, or is it really not going to work?
Or after the implementation.
Which that's the bad way to find out about it, but we've definitely had our share of that. But
we try to what's a good word, preface that as much as possible, but it never turns out for us.
No.
How much we beat the horse.
We've been here, we've done this, we know, but then sometimes you just don't know till you're doing it, and it's just not going to work. But that's how you find the good things.
Yep.
If you just try.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your
you.
promotion. And this was kind of our beginner promo to her promotion. And in three or so months, or the next time we do a podcast, we'll loop around and find out what she implemented, where she's at, and what she's doing with her promotion. So
yeah, stay tuned.
All right. For our followers, our YouTube channel, anywhere you listen to your podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.